What's up, everybody? We are back with episode 11, I believe. Episode 11 of our Site B Mode series. And just to do a little quick recap of what happened in our last episode. In our last episode, we showcased our cloning and breeding facility. And I kind of explained a little bit. Of course, we let the animals on Isa Sorna breed on their own. But we also hope in that process. And if you watch episode 10, you will see how I kind of explained the cloning process and the breeding process and how we kind of make sure that the animals on Isla Sorna don't cause more harm than good when it's time to breed, and of course that they don't cause their own extinction. So, anyways, that's basically what happened last episode. In this episode, we're back to our usual format, which is, of course, picking a proximity on Isla Sorna and exploring the entire proximity, seeing what animals we have in the area, and seeing how they interact with each other in their natural habitats and ecosystems. So in today's episode, we are actually in a redwooded forestry area or redwooded forest area, and it's not the first episode to take place in a redwooded area. It's just that most of our episodes take place in more tropical environments here on Isla Sorna, and that's mainly because a lot of our animals take refuge in more tropical, I guess you could say tropical ecosystems here on Isla Sorna. But that doesn't mean that our redwooded areas on Isla Sorna are small because Isla Sorna, has a lot of different biomes. It's such a huge island that is home to a lot of different biomes. It's just that most of our animals are in the more tropical environments. They also have the opportunity to migrate, a lot here on the island. So it's no telling what we'll see. But anyways, speaking of animals, right here we have a pteranodon. This is actually a male pteranodon right here. I don't think we've seen the pteranodon in the last couple episodes. It's not the first episode where we've seen pteranodons, but we're trying to follow him as he's flying. But it is the first episode in the last couple episodes that we've seen one. And with these redwooded areas, you never know what we're going to run into because sometimes you'll see a lot of the same animals here on Isla Sorna in tropical environments and redwooded environments. So just because we're in a redwooded area doesn't necessarily mean we're going to see different animals. But sometimes we do have certain animals here on Isla Sorna that are more native to either redwooded areas or tropical areas. So right here we have a family of Dinochirises. Of course, we have the male right here. You can tell he's the male because his colors are a little bit more prominent than the female, and this is the female right here. As you can see, she's I guess you can say her colors are not as vibrant as the male colors are. And here is the juvenile. I mentioned before our GoPro cameras are able to go underwater, and of course they don't take any damage or anything like that. They are waterproof, so sometimes we can go underwater to get a better look at some of these beautiful animals, or at least some of our semi-aquatic animals. But yeah, so this is a juvenile Dinochirus. I mentioned a few episodes back, sometimes I am unable to tell the male and females apart when it comes to the juveniles. As far as our adult animals, I'm usually good at telling apart the sexual dimorphism, but I have a hard time with the juveniles mainly because they haven't really grown into you know, some of those traits that they'll develop when they get a little bit more mature. But as I mentioned in the last episode, I'm always happy to see Dinochirises. Of course, about a month ago, a couple episodes back, or at least going on a month ago, Dinochirus, Ostroraptor, and Irritator was one of the new animals that we released off of the cut animals from our new 2025 engine list. So we're going to explore a little bit more of this territory. I was about to say, I do believe that I've seen some more animals in the background. Yeah, so we have some more Dinochirises, and we actually have a Edmontosaurus here. There's only one Edmontosaurus. I'm not sure if there are any more, but this is another male Dinochirus. So as you can see, it wasn't just that family unit that we just got done looking at. There's obviously more of them. Yes, and here's another one. This is another male. So we got two more males right here. And as you can see, they are kind of more so hidden off in the background of these huge, beautiful redwood trees. Sometimes you'll see that with some of our animals. Some of them like to stay more so hidden and out of the, I guess you could say stay more in the shadows and stuff like that, which is, I guess makes sense because you have some animals that don't mind, being in the broad daylight, and then you have some animals that probably would prefer to kind of be in the shadows more. So this is another female Dinocaris, and I believe this is another female. Well, this actually might be a male. Let me see. He's in the dark, so it's a little hard for me to tell. Nope, female. And we actually have a Thanatos Draken right here as well. So it's been just like the Pteranodon. It's been a few episodes since we've seen any Thanatos Drakens. And as you guys know, they are some of our biggest flyers here on Isla Sorna. As far as our Pterosaurs and our Ashdarkians, you guys have seen, if you've kept up with this episode series, you guys have seen Thanatos Drakens, Pteranodons, and Dimorphodons. And let me just make sure. Yeah, so that's that family unit of Dinocairises. We have that Pteranodon right there. I just wanted to make sure we weren't missing any Dinocairises because this seems to be their territories right here, or at least where they're residing at, in the mist and in the thicket of all these redwooded trees. And of course we have that lone Edmontosaurus over there. Don't know if he's by himself, but you guys keep up with the series, you will hear me say a lot. Edmontosauruses usually stay in huge populations, so whether he's by himself or not is to be determined. But anyways, we're going to make our way down this waterfall and see what else lies in this area. Of course, we just seen our Pteranodons, Edmontosaurs, Dinocairises, and Thanatos Drakens, but of course we're going to see what else is in this area. Beautiful waterfall right here. I just love, Isla Sorna. I speak a lot about, the well-being of Sorna compared to how it was in the 90s, and just being able to work with Engine, it just makes me so happy because I'm able to see just the beautiful vegetation that's on this island and the beautiful animals that it holds and stuff like that. And we're able to do a lot of our own cloning, which is, of course, something that was prohibited for a while after the eruption of Isla Nublar. And even just speaking of that, I mentioned a few days ago, I made a post that after we get to 100 subscribers, or at least 100 plus subscribers, we actually have a huge project that's going to be taking place with this Site B series. So we're at 94 currently, 94 subscribers. So I really appreciate that, you guys. And once we get to 100 plus, we have a huge project that is going to be taking place with this series. So please stay tuned. But anyways, we have another, I got a little distracted. We have another Thanatos Draken that just took flight. Looks like it's probably going inside of this huge cave right here. I'm not seeing any eggs or anything like that in there, so I don't know if it's home to that Baryonyx we just seen or some of those Thanatos Drakens, which I doubt is home to the Thanatos Drakens. But we have one Baryonyx in the area. I'm not seeing. We have some more. We have a Pteranodon and a Thanatos Draken. This is a female, so the Thanatos Drakens we just seen prior, this is the male. So the Thanatos Drakens that we just seen prior were actually the females. And as you can see, they're probably residing with the Baryonyxes. Here's another Baryonyx right here, juvenile. These Baryonyxes, of course, are aquatic, fish eaters. So sometimes they'll, like grizzly bears, if you go to, let's just say Yellowstone National Park, and you walk alongside the rivers at Yellowstone National Park, you'll see a lot of dead salmon all over the place. And it's kind of the same thing with these Baryonyxes. Of course, they're fish eaters, so you'll see a lot of. Speaking of fish eaters, we have this male right here eating a fish right now. But you'll see a lot of, fish carcasses along the shores of these river systems and stuff like that. And of course, our pterosaurs and of course our Thanatos Drakens. Sometimes they'll reside alongside our Suchomimuses, our Baryonyxes, and of course our irritators in order to pick off those fish carcasses. Now, I don't see any fish carcasses right now, but that is, the case with most of our semi-aquatic animals and a lot of our flyers here on Isla Sorna. Beautiful, fully grown male adult Thanatos Draken. My favorite flyers that we've cloned in the couple years that I've been working with the company of Engine. And speaking of our baryonyxes, we have one juvenile in the area, which I don't know where he's running to. We have one male, one female, and I believe I did see, at least I thought I seen another baryonyx. But I guess I didn't. Oh yeah, I knew I wasn't hallucinating. So we have one male. Okay, wait, hold on. One male and two females. So this is actually the male right here, and the lighter green baryonyxes are the females. You'll usually never see a group of baryonyxes where there's more males than females, you know. So that juvenile belongs to him and one of these females, of course, and I wouldn't be surprised if he mates with the other one. You see them socializing with each other here. But I wouldn't be surprised if he mates with the other one sometime soon. So anyways, enough of this area. We're going to go a little bit further downstream. Actually, we're going to turn our GoPro camera around here. Go above some of these redwooded trees. I'm already hearing some animals make noises. So yeah, so we have more Edmontosauruses, which I'm not honestly surprised about. Oh, we almost bumped into one. I mentioned before, our GoPro cameras are literally the size of flies. So they're the size of a small flying insect. So the animals never know we're actually in their territory, which is good, of course, because we're able to film these beautiful animals without disturbing their peace. So we have a couple of male Edmontosauruses, some juveniles as well, and oh, we actually have an Austroraptor. This is a male. Wait, this is a female Austroraptor right here. So we have her residing in this area of the Edmontosauruses, and here is another Austroraptor. This is a male right here. You know he's a male because his colors are a little bit more vibrant. He has the little, I guess you could say, crest of feathers on his neck, and of course the crest of feathers above his head. And even though they are semi-aquatic carnivores, I wouldn't be surprised if they wouldn't go out of their way if it's enough of them to try to take down the Edmontosaurus. Which would not be an easy feat because, you know, Edmontosauruses are extremely huge hadrosaurs. So yeah, as you can see, we have a female right here, and she's probably stalking this juvenile, but we have this female Edmontosaurus protecting her juvenile. I'm assuming that's the case. Wait, no, yeah, she just completely ran over this juvenile Edmontosaurus. I don't know if it's dead or not. Yeah, he's not dead. This is actually a male juvenile Edmontosaurus. We're gonna wait to see if she finishes the kill. And we have him running off here, but he's wounded, so he probably can't run as fast as he would like. Forgive me for the camera work. Sometimes maneuvering through these redwooded areas aren't as easy as it looks because these are very, very thick areas. But yeah, so I guess that Austroraptor didn't finish off this juvenile Edmontosaurus, which is definitely good for the Edmontosaurus. But that was definitely some good footage to document, because even though our Austroraptors are semi-aquatic animals, as you guys just seen, they wouldn't mind going out of their way to take out, you know, a juvenile Edmontosaurus. You know, as far as a fully grown Edmontosaurus, that would be something that is way too hard. So anyways, this area is obviously crawling with Edmontosauruses, so we're going to see what else is possibly in this area. Let's see. Okay, so we have some more Edmontosaurus residing with Lokiceratops. So for those that don't know, Lokiceratops is an animal that was recently released off the new 2025 engine list a month ago. So it is an animal I am extremely happy to see that has migrated to the redwooded areas here on Isla Sorna. As far as how many there are, we have our males here, which of course, you know, the colors are way more vibrant. His horns, the horns on his frill, of course, come out at a more outwards angle, and the female's colors are a little bit more duller compared to him. We have another female here feeding. We're going to see if there are any more Lokiceratops. We have another Edmontosaurus in the back here. Or we're going to see if there are any juvenile Lokiceratops. You never know, they might be breeding. Yeah, so here we have a juvenile Lokiceratops right here, and thought I just seen another one. But where there's one or there's more, I'm definitely sure of it. Yeah, so here goes another juvenile Lokiceratops. And if I'm not mistaken, these are the first juvenile Lokiceratops that we've seen in our site, or that we've seen since we released these guys. So definitely excited about that. Want to see what else we have in this area. This area is absolutely thriving with animals. We have some more Ostroraptors. I'm not seeing any juvenile Ostroraptors, unfortunately. Doesn't mean that they're not successfully breeding, it's just we possibly haven't ran into none yet. Uh, so here we have two Suchomimuses. So yes, this area is definitely thriving with a lot of animal activity. These are actually, I mentioned before, we keep a lot of tabs on most of our animals here on Isla Sorna. And those that we don't have tabs on, of course, we always go and we tranquilize them and get tabs on them later and stuff. But these are actually two brother Suchomimuses. So sometimes you'll see this a lot where two siblings will stay in close proximity with each other. And instead of them splitting ways and seeking out new territories, they come to the realization that they're better off together than separate because they can bring down more prey together. Though these, are Suchomimuses, so of course they'll spend a lot of their time in the water and not necessarily hunting on land. It's just that they know that together they're a lot more stronger compared to them being a little bit separate. I mean, compared to them being separate. So they don't seem to be doing anything, just relaxing in the water. So we're gonna move along here, see what else could possibly be in this area. Of course, we have our very large Edmontosauruses. Well, our large group of Edmontosauruses, and I just want to make sure because we've seen so many Austroraptors already in this area. I just want to make sure that there aren't any more, or at least aren't any juveniles, because we haven't seen juvenile Austroraptors yet, and I would hate if we missed them. Like I said, I'm not seeing any. Wow, yeah, this area is absolutely thriving with Lokiceratops. We're seeing way more juveniles than what we seen a few minutes ago. So that just, guys, that always excites me because it just goes to show that, the animals are, of course, breeding extremely well, which is what we love to see, of course. As far as juvenile Ostroraptors go, I'm afraid that there might not be any, because I'm literally raising our camera up as high as it can go, and yeah, unfortunately I'm not seeing any juvenile Ostroraptors. We're going to give the area one more quick scoop, one more quick go around, because our Ostroraptors are almost just like our Velociraptors, meaning that they're going to stay in large groups, and of course they're going to breed very quickly. But unfortunately, I'm not seeing any. Yeah. Which is fine. Like I said, it doesn't mean that they're not breeding. It's just that, there aren't any juveniles in this area. Or it could also mean that they're keeping the juveniles hidden for the time being, which is, we see that kind of behavior in our Velociraptors a lot, where the juveniles would necessarily not be in the way, but more so hidden off somewhere. So anyways, we spent enough time in this area. We're going to go check out another area right quick. Unfortunately, there aren't any juvenile Ostroraptors. Like I said, though, it doesn't mean that there aren't breeding. It's just that, there aren't any in this area at least. So anyways, we're going to check out another area here. This proximity that we're in today is a very large proximity with a lot of animal behavior. Okay, hold on, wait. So we actually have some acrocanthosauruses in the area as well, which I would have never known because we gave this area a huge scope. And we actually have a juvenile acrocanthosaurus. So this is the first juvenile acrocanthosaurus that we've seen since we released them. And if you guys know, we actually have the male taking off here. We're going to see what he's going after. Oh, he appears to be hunting this Edmontosaurus. Wow, so yeah, this is the male here. The other Acrocanthosaurus that was in the area was the female, and that's a juvenile. So as you guys know, Acrocanthosaurus was on the new 2025 engine list from last month when we released all those animals. And as you can see, this is the first juvenile Acrocanthosaurus that we've came in contact with. Since we've released Acrocanthosaurus in the wild, we've seen, you know, a couple of them in other episodes, but this is the first this is the first juvenile Acrocanthosaurus that we've seen since releasing them. And we found them just in time to watch them hunt. So, you know, of course, I'm excited to see that we have a juvenile here. Could be a male, could be a female. We'll have to get tabs on this guy later in order to find out. But as you can see, his colors are, or you know, maybe her, but his or her colors are almost identical to the father. And this is the female back here, the mother. I'm gonna get a better look at her before we spent enough time in this area, so we're gonna get ready to leave in a second. So as you can see, this is the female, and surprisingly, her colors are a little bit more prominent compared to the father's color, to the father's skin patterns. So this is probably their whole entire territory that they patrol along with their juvenile. This is the first juvenile Acrocanthosaurus that I've seen in our series. So I'm unsure how long the juvenile will stay with the adults before he seeks out his own territory. But as you can see, their territory consists of Lokiceratops, Edmontosauruses, and Osteoraptors and Suchomimuses. But they probably don't mind, you know, these guys, these Suchomimuses and the rest of these animals. We have an Osteoraptor here, probably thinking about feeding off this carcass. This Osteoraptor would be very, very brave, as this is a male Osteoraptor. He's extremely brave to go up to this Edmontosaurus carcass and not worry about the Acrocanthosauruses that were here. So that's how you know these guys don't necessarily mind sharing territories with each other. They're probably full aware that the Osteoraptors are no threat to them or their juvenile. So yeah, anyways, guys, we spent enough time in this area. I'm glad we, you know, spent some time looking for the Osteoraptor juveniles because we were able to come back and, of course, see the Acrocanthosauruses, which I had no clue that they were even in the area. So anyways, as I said, this area that we're in here on Isla Sorna is very huge. So we're going to check out the rest of the area and see what else is in it in terms of animals, of course. So let's see, what do we have here? We have another what do we have here? We have another water source, it seems. But it seems to be vacant. Always try to check our water sources out for the simple fact that we have expanded our semi-aquatic. Oh wait, no. We do have some stuff over here. So these are actually some irritators, which is actually cool. So as you can see in this area, we have Baryonyxes and irritators. We have a couple of juveniles as well. This is the male here with the larger crest and the more darker body. And as you can see, this is a female here next to this juvenile Suchomimus. Juvenile irritator. So yeah, we have Baryonyxes, Suchomimuses, and irritators all in this area. And as you guys know, you know, those are the 3 cut species that didn't make the 2025 engine list in time. The 3 cut species are the Dinocyrus, irritators, and Osteoraptors, all in one episode. So, you know, it always makes me happy to see that our animals are expanding to other territories here on Isla Sorna. And there's a huge group of them too. We're going to check out the rest of this river stream to see if there are any more. Let's see, what do we have over here? So we have a Sinoceratops or a Sinoceratops. I'm pretty sure I'm always pronouncing it wrong. Some more Pteranodons. Juvenile Sinoceratops. So as far as our ceratopsids, we have Lokiceratops and Sinoceratops all residing in this proximity here on Isosorna. Of course, a little ways from each other. We have another couple other juveniles. So yeah, some juveniles mixing with adults. Of course, this is our female right here. And here's a male right here. The frill on his head is a lot larger. And yes, we have pteranodons all over the place, which is really cool to see. So we have some larger herbivores in the back. So we're going to check out these larger herbivores to see what they are. So yeah, so we have some Myrmentisauruses. And if I'm not mistaken, guys, we have not seen Myrmentisauruses since the second episode. If I'm not mistaken. So, that just goes to show that they're not, it's either one or two things. They're not as widely spread as our Brachiosauruses here on the island, or they only like to reside in one area, which would be the redwooded forest area, because our second episode in our Site B series was in a redwooded episode. I mean, was in a redwooded environment. So that could only, in my opinion, that can only mean, one of those two things. They're not as widely spread as the Brachiosauruses, or it's just that they only like to reside in, redwooded areas. Which nothing is wrong with that. You guys will see that a lot. Some animals are only known to either stay in our more tropical areas or in our more redwooded areas. We also have a lot more different biomes here on Isosorna that are soon to be seen. But we also have some more animals in the area. We have some Ornithomimosis that is a female, and is that another? So we actually have another Austroraptor taking refuge amongst all of these beautiful Ornithomimosis. You can see the more vibrant ones. Usually the vibrant animals are always the males. And the more duller ones are always the females. Our vibrant animals are usually always the males because they have to attract the females some way, shape, or form. And they do that by, of course, expressing beautiful coloration in their skin patterns. We also have a Pachycephalosaurus here. Some more. I thought this Myrmentisauruses was about to fall off this hillside. We have some more Myrmentisauruses and just a bunch of Ornithomimosis all over the place. So this little area is literally crawling with Ornithomimosis, and of course they have to be careful because we have Austroraptors in the area. But these Pachycephalosauruses would definitely do their just due in terms of defending themselves against the Austroraptors. So in return, that should probably help out the Ornithomimosis because they can't just simply be picked off. Since they have Pachycephalosauruses in the area that could do better at defending themselves. We're going to see what else is in this little area. I wasn't expecting to come across any irritators or any more Austroraptors. I'm happy that we stumbled across more Myrmentisauruses for the simple fact that, and that's if I'm not, we actually have a Metriacanthosaurus as well. This is actually a male here as he goes for a drink of water, and we have another one. This is another male. Okay, so this is two females and two males. So yes, our Metriacanthosauruses are almost identical to our Allosauruses in terms of them living in large groups. That's four Metriacanthosauruses, and if I'm not mistaken, it's the most Metriacanthosauruses that we've seen at one time in one episode. I know a couple of episodes back we've seen a family unit of them, but it's the most Metriacanthosauruses that we've seen in one episode. And there aren't any juveniles in the group, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a beautiful, beautiful female right here. And next to her is another male. And of course, here's the other female, and there should be another male around her somewhere. So they're probably, they're probably going to be having some juveniles pretty soon. And of course, they're probably staying grouped up because obviously there are strength in numbers, and these guys don't mind, hanging around each other and enjoying each other's company, of course. We're going to see what else we have in the area. Plenty Ornithomimosis, like literally plenty of them. which is what I love to see because, of course, Ornithomimus was on our 2025 engine list that we revealed a couple weeks back, almost a month ago, if not a month ago. And of course, we released all those animals into the wild all in one episode. And as you guys can see, there's juvenile Ornithomimuses all over the place. So that just goes to show that they are, of course, breeding successfully, which is definitely what we wanted to see. Well, definitely what we'd like to see. So, anyways, we're gonna yeah, a couple of osteoraptors in this area. So our what's the our Ornithomimuses definitely have to be on the lookout. So, anyways, we're gonna make our way to another little proximity in this area. I'm glad we stumbled across those irritators because we might have missed the large number of Ornithomimuses that were in the area, along with these beautiful Sinoceratops or Sinoceratops. Um, as I mentioned, these are the females, the one with the smaller frills, and we have a male right here, which is he's being bothered by his offspring, his juveniles. Usually, you'll see our well, it depends on the species. Some of our males are a little bit more tolerant of their offspring compared to our females. And of course, I was more than happy to stumble across our irritators, which is some of our new semi-aquatic animals that we've added to the ecosystems of Isla Sorna a couple weeks back. Beautiful animals. And sometimes you'll see them taking refuge amongst each other with our what's the word I'm looking with our baryonyx and suchomimesis, and other times you won't. It really just depends. So anyways, we're going to make our way to another area to see what it consists of. Well, we're going to, of course, just see what's in the area, not necessarily what it consists of. Let's see. And this area is pretty huge. That's another reason why we picked this area to come to. So what do we have here? So we have some Kentrosauruses and a bunch of juvenile Kentrosauruses, and we actually have some Sauropeltas. So as you guys know, Sauropeltas was one of the animals on the new 2025 engine list, and of course, Kentrosaurus was an animal that we had just recently released into the wild, I believe in November. So yeah, since this series started, we've been releasing a lot of animals to the wild here on Isla Sorna, and it's just, the diverse in our ecosystems is of course expanding, which of course, we love to see. So it seems we actually have some Stygimolochs in the area as well, and I'm just so happy to see these juvenile Kentrosauruses, man. So yeah, we have some Stygimolochs in the area as well, a bunch of them actually. I don't see any juveniles though. And we have our beautiful Sauropeltas, which of course are, taking refuge amongst our Kentrosauruses. And I explained before, the larger ones are the males, of course. You can tell by how big they are. And this, as far as our Kentrosauruses grow, as far as our Kentrosauruses go, our females are a lot more smaller compared to the males. So anyways, we're gonna go upstream here, see what else we have in this area. We don't have too much longer in this episode to go. I was really excited, to explore a redwooded area today because most of our areas here on Isla Sorna are just more so tropical environments. So yeah, we have some more Dinocheiruses in the area, which of course is cool. We got two males, one right here and one right here. And we have some females as well, which of course is cool. So they're, a little ways away from the Kentrosauruses and Sauropeltas and Stygimolochs. Beautiful female. We also have a juvenile right here, which he's following his mother, of course. Usually when we have a large variety of the same species in one area, there's probably one or two breeding pairs, and usually if you see a lot of juveniles, they probably aren't from all of those individual animals. They're probably from that one or two breeding pairs. We have another juvenile. I believe there's two juveniles and about 4 adults. So they probably migrated a little bit away from I mean they probably migrated away from that first group of dinochiruses that we've seen, or they probably all stumbled to this territory all at different times. You know, our as you can see in the background of our episodes is usually, I mean, in the background of our sceneries, there's usually large mountains and hillsides and cliffs. So usually when you see dinosaurs or animals all across Isla Sorna, you know, just know that they go to extreme lengths to make those, you know, super long migrations. And because Isla Sorna is such a huge, huge island, it gives them the opportunity to, you know, of course, make those, you know, long migrations to seek out new territories and stuff like that. So we have our juvenile here, of course, submerging himself underwater to hunt for some fish and stuff. And we have his mother right behind him, probably just monitoring him, making sure, you know, maybe he could be feeding on a piranha and maybe be getting bit by a, by a school of I mean a group of piranhas. So she probably was just monitoring him to make sure he was okay. So anyways, we have another little area to explore here, and then we're going to get ready to actually wrap this episode up. Not too much action, which is okay though, because the last episode did end with a Spinosaurus loner, actually, which is the name of that Spinosaurus from the last episode, killing a subadult Tyrannosaurus Rex that stumbled into his area. But anyways, we have a Parasaurolophus here, and that is actually a female. We have a group of them actually, a large group of them. We have a juvenile as well. I'm pretty sure there's more juveniles in the area. We have a large group of Parasaurolophus, and we're going to see, are these more Sinocer... Nope. Triceratops. So yeah, we have some Parasaurolophus residing with some trikes, which is really cool to see. You know, it just goes to show how diverse this little proximity is in terms of, you know, the animal life, because you know in certain areas we have Sinoceratops, other areas we have, you know, Lokiceratops that we've seen earlier, and in this area we have our trikes. And even though that is three ceratops, it's all in one episode. It just goes to show that they don't mind being around each other, but at the same time they don't mind, of course, you know, being a little bit away from each other. So you have more Parasaurolophus in this area, and what do we have here? So we actually have a Utah raptor, and she just knocked down a trike, a juvenile trike, but she didn't kill it. So she did the same thing that that Ostroraptor did to that Edmontosaurus earlier in the episode. And whether or not she's going to kill it, um, you know, that's the thing with our, you know, our raptors. Sometimes they'll knock these juveniles over thinking they killed it, might come back to the carcass later only to realize that they actually didn't kill it. Oh, wait, no, this is actually a male, not a female. A male Utah raptor. And it seems he's actually about to challenge another male Utah raptor. You know, these guys won't kill each other. This is probably just how they establish dominance with each other, of course, which is what you see. Well, which is what you'll usually see in our carnivores a lot. You know, sometimes you'll see some of the same species fighting amongst each other, but it's just them establishing dominance with each other. You know, they won't kill each other or anything like that. So these are two beautiful large males, and if you guys been keeping up with the series, you will know that they are some of the animals that we had recently released off of the new 2025 engine list. We have a female right here as well, surrounding herself next to these trikes. You know, one thing I will say, though these Utah raptors are fast, they better be really careful around these adult trikes, because these adult trikes can get extremely aggressive. And as you can see, this male just knocked this juvenile trike over, which is, you know, very brave. Whether or not he's going to finish the job, I don't know. But yeah, he's not finishing the job. And he probably got scared off because, you know, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, that's just 5 or 6 trikes in this area alone. And just speaking of Utah raptors, I'm glad we actually ran in. Okay, cool. So we actually have some juvenile Utah raptors as well. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first episode where we've seen juvenile Utah raptors since we've released them into the wild off of the new 2025 engine list. So I'm extremely excited about that. You know, I know we seen an adult Utah raptor about 2 episodes ago, but it was only one Utah raptor. As you can see them socializing with each other. But you guys can see with these juveniles, that mean that they are doing good in terms of breeding, which I'm super stoked about. We have another female taking off here. We're going to see where she's running after. She could be going to go check up on some of her younglings, which I'm unsure about. We're just going to follow her to see where she's going. She took off in the blink of an eye, so I'm going to see where she leads us to. Could be another clutch of eggs, or could be some... Okay, wait. So yeah, she smelt the carcass of a Parasaurolophus, a juvenile Parasaurolophus. We don't know who killed it, but that's why I wanted to follow her, because I wanted to see where she was running off to. She actually led us into this redwooded area. We're gonna go a little bit more up ways here to see what we might run into. Okay, so we actually have a Spinosaurus, and we actually just had a juvenile and a female as well. So this is a Spinosaur family, which is cool because we just seen a Spinosaur in the last episode. So as you guys can see, these guys are extremely widespread across Isla Sorna. This is a very beautiful, large female, and as you can see, here comes the male right behind her. And then there was a juvenile a couple minutes ago. So we just got to see where he went. There are Utah raptors in the area, so hopefully he doesn't get himself killed. We actually have a trike right here as well, which is a male trike, and I'm surprised he made his way over here considering the fact that there are 2 large apex predators. And here's the juvenile Spinosaurus. He's following daddy right now. So yeah, so this is one of the... Well, no, not necessarily the first time. This is the first time in a while where we've seen just one family unit of Spinosaurus. Usually we see a group of them. As I've mentioned 1,000 times, our Spinosauruses are a lot more social compared to the individual Spinosaurus that Dr. Alan Grant came in contact with way back in 2000, in the early 2000s. Reason why, and I explained this as well, the reason why we cloned them to be more social is because the first original Spinosaurus that was cloned in the early 2000s is extremely aggressive, well, was extremely aggressive, an extremely aggressive animal. And of course, we don't want our, we don't want our newly cloned Spinosauruses causing more harm to themselves in terms of trying to kill each other to, of course, take command over an entire territory. We want them to not mind sharing territories with each other. So it's cool that we ran into these guys. Because they are semi-aquatic animals, we probably aren't going to see them interact with the trikes or Parasaurolophus or anything like that. It doesn't mean that they don't mind going out of their way to hunt, things on land. It just means that they will probably prefer to deal with the semi-aquatic things. Which, of course, is understandable, because if you can have a choice to either live on land or live on the waters, or live in the waters and stuff like that, you would definitely pick the waters if it means that you don't necessarily have to, come in contact with other large carnivores like our Acrocanthosauruses and our Tyrannosaurus rexes that are known to be on Isla Sorna. And just speaking of Spinosauruses, Acrocanthosauruses and our rexes, our Spinosauruses are the largest, terrestrial carnivores on Isla Sorna. And of course, we cloned them that way, and they were like that in the fossil record when they were actually, alive, millions and millions of years ago. So that's exactly how our cloned Spinosauruses are as well. So, anyways, we're gonna get ready to wrap this episode up. This is a more calmer episode. I really wanted us to visit a redwooded area here, and some of the highlights was the simple fact that we came in contact with that Acrocanthosaurus juvenile and the Utah raptor juveniles, because that is the first juvenile Acrocanthosaurus and juvenile Utah raptor that we've come in contact with since, recording these Site B episodes, which I'm super excited about. Of course, we just recently released these animals into the wild not too long ago. We have a female right here roaring at something. I'm unsure what she's roaring at. Yeah, so that was definitely some of the highlights of this episode. And as you guys can see, we have another male or, a female that just completely trampled this trike. So, a common thing that we see with our raptors is that they don't hesitate, and I wouldn't be surprised if this trike is now dead. They don't hesitate to go after some of the juvenile animals a lot. Our raptors are, in terms of their size, whether it's the velociraptors or Utah raptors or Austral raptors, they are kind of, similar in size to, some of the juvenile animals. And as you can see, this male, both these males, well, one of the females killed that trike, that juvenile trike, and that male just tried to kill this juvenile trike. So we're gonna see if he pursues this chase before we draw this episode to a close. Which he's probably okay. No, so we have another female, and if I'm not mistaken, that is the same female that just killed this juvenile trike that was over here. And we have these male trikes and these female trikes sitting here watching it. So, this is definitely important information for us to document. If anything, it tells us a lot about the parenthood of some of these trikes, which, in my opinion, isn't that good. Because if they try hard enough, they definitely could, keep some of these Utah raptors off of their juveniles. So anyways, guys, we're going to definitely draw this episode to a close. As I always say, keep up with the series. And as I just said not too long ago, stay tuned, because I said that once we, I made a community post saying once we get to 100 plus subscribers, there's going to be a lot of things taking place, a lot of big projects taking place here in the next couple episodes. I just wanted to make sure that I had 100 plus subscribers, because I wanted to make sure I had a large audience watching what's about to take place. And I'm going to be revealing it really, really soon, because I'm currently at 94 subscribers. And you guys are definitely going to enjoy it. So anyways, guys, catch you guys in the next Site B Mode episode.